All right, everybody, what's going on? Kurt Capra here, back with you for the daily recap on what was a pretty interesting Tuesday. Obviously we started things with the gap down in Netflix, the big gap down post earnings in Netflix, like we were talking about in the recap. And let me just go there first because I said that I'd be looking for it to bounce off the open. It was a big gap down. There was definitely some shock to it, but it was almost too much, too excessive, and it was down into some support, a little shelf right down in here. So as I said in the recap, or rather in the morning call, look for traders to fade this off the open, and then maybe we get a rally up into this area here around 360. Maybe it could push up into the 50-day. So that is exactly what happened. I mean, it was definitely a bit stronger. I mean, even just in the way it closed, it was definitely stronger than I think most, myself included, even thought it might be. And if you look at the 15, I mean, you could see this steady amount of demand that just continued to come into this here. So overall, pretty impressive day there in Netflix, and we'll see where it goes from here, because now, as you can see, it's bounced back up into this area of what was support, now resistance. So this is going to be the real test. We'll see what happens. But as far as the market itself goes, I mean, even the market had a pretty big rebound, and not to say that the gap down was all that imposing. It really wasn't that big of a gap down in any way, shape, or form, right? It just gapped down here above the 8-day and was able to rally very, very well up through the top of this resistance over the last couple days and close strong. So stage looks like it's being set here for additional follow through higher. And if we look at the Qs, pretty much the same deal. They obviously had a bit more of a gap down because of Netflix, but they too recovered very well. But the other thing that we talked about in the morning call was, okay, yeah, the Qs are going to be gapping down, but gapping down into this area of what was resistance, then once we broke above it, becoming support. So you look for those buyers to show up, to step up. And that's exactly what they did. So definitely had some nice action in the market. We'll see what kind of follow through we get now here over the next couple days, right? As far as some individual names, I mean, you got Baba, which woke up a little bit. I mean, a lot of gap downs did end up getting bought. Baba was one of them, and could be interesting over the next couple days, because if we look at the weekly chart, it is in this higher low buy setup type of scenario. So I'd keep an eye on the Baba. Maybe that starts to see some follow through. The IQ gap down, but was able to recover, so that's encouraging. We'll keep an eye on that one. What else here? We talked about the DBX. Didn't really do anything. I mean, it had some volatility back and forth, but really didn't do anything there. The INTC got a gap down. This one could be interesting for tomorrow, only because the gap down got bought, but all it really did was rally up into resistance. So this could roll over here tomorrow. I'd keep an eye on that one. NVIDIA, which we talked about, that had a pretty strong day after the gap down. So look for that to possibly continue moving higher over the next couple sessions. Banks, they were quiet, to be expected. Big wide range day yesterday up into resistance. No surprise that they just kind of hung out here today, but they did well. They hung up in the upper part of yesterday's range, bottoming tail on JP Morgan. So buyers are still stepping up here, still acting confident. And so, as I said, that is encouraging. We'll see if it can follow through. So overall, all in all, pretty good day. Look at Apple here. It recovered. We talked about the potential for a failed breakout there, but buyers stepped up here, so that was a good sign. You got Facebook, which had a real strong day as well. So a lot of strength despite the opening weakness. And a lot of that is because, again, these names really weren't gapping down in a significant way. And I mean, where they were gapping implied or suggested that buyers were going to be attracted to that area. So that's part of the process, is not just looking at a gap and saying, oh, if it's a gap down, it's bearish, but where is it gapping to, what kind of shock value is being created, and that'll help you to determine what you should expect in terms of, the action at the very least off the open. Not necessarily for the entire day, because we need to be objective about what's happening, but at least it gives you a plan for the open. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We got some more earnings coming out here, both after the close as well as before the open tomorrow. Scott will be back with you guys, and like I said, we'll see where things are at. So hope you guys had a great day, and we'll be back with you in the morning.